Unaware his wife owned the firm that held his company's debt, husband divorced her. Until the truth changed everything. On a rainy Monday morning, Ethan Carter stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of Carter Technologies, watching dark clouds swallow the city skyline. His company was in trouble. For nearly 10 years, Ethan had poured everything into building the software firm from a tiny garage startup into a respected mid-sized company. But the economy had shifted, investors had backed out, and a failed expansion overseas had left the business drowning in debt. The bank had refused another extension. There was only one creditor left. A powerful investment firm called Sterling Capital. Rumor had it that Sterling Capital never forgave unpaid debts. Companies that failed to meet their obligations were quietly dismantled and sold piece by piece. Ethan sighed as his phone buzzed. His lawyer. "We've reviewed Sterling's latest proposal," the lawyer said. "And they want full repayment within 30 days. That's impossible." "I know." Silence filled the line. "If we fail," the lawyer continued gently, "they can legally take control of your company." Ethan closed his eyes. 10 years. 10 years of sleepless nights, sacrifices, missed birthdays, and endless hard work. All of it could disappear in a month. That evening, Ethan arrived home exhausted. The lights in the kitchen glowed warmly. His wife, Olivia, smiled as she placed dinner on the table. "You look tired." "I am." She poured him a cup of coffee. "You've barely eaten lately." "I've been busy." Olivia studied him quietly. She had always been gentle, patient, kind. She never asked for expensive vacations or luxury gifts. She preferred simple evenings together, homemade meals, and quiet conversations. But lately, those conversations had disappeared. Ethan had become distant, cold. He barely noticed her anymore. "Is something wrong at work?" she asked softly. "It's nothing. You've been saying that for months." "I'll handle it." She reached for his hand. Instead of holding it, Ethan stood up. "I have more work." She watched him walk upstairs without another word. A single tear rolled down her cheek. What Ethan didn't know was that Olivia wasn't the ordinary freelance consultant she claimed to be. Years before they met, her late father had built Sterling Capital into one of the most influential financial firms in the country. When he passed away unexpectedly, ownership quietly transferred to Olivia. Rather than becoming a public figure, she chose privacy. She appointed experienced executives to manage daily operations while she remained the majority owner. Only a handful of people knew the truth, including Sterling's CEO. Every month, the CEO personally updated Olivia on the firm's biggest investments, including Carter Technologies. When Ethan's company first borrowed money, Olivia immediately recognized the name. She had wanted to tell him everything. Many times. But Ethan had always insisted he wanted to succeed on his own. "I never want anyone's money," he often said. "If I fail because of my own decisions." She respected that, even when it hurt. The following week, Sterling Capital's executive board gathered for an emergency meeting. "The Carter account is approaching default," one executive announced. "We recommend immediate acquisition." Another executive nodded. "The company still has valuable patents. We'll make a profit." The CEO looked toward Olivia. "As majority owner, the final decision is yours." Everyone waited. Olivia remained silent. She stared at Ethan's financial reports. She knew exactly how hard he had worked. She also knew something the board didn't. Ethan wasn't dishonest. He wasn't lazy. He had simply trusted the wrong investors. "I need more time," she finally said. One executive frowned. "We've already granted extensions. Grant one more." "But that's my decision." The room fell silent. No one argued. Meanwhile, Ethan's stress continued to grow. His longtime friend and business partner, Marcus, wasn't making things easier. "You need to think practically," Marcus said one afternoon. "I'm trying." "No." Marcus leaned closer. "You're distracted." "How?" "Your marriage." Ethan frowned. "What about it?" "You've changed since getting married." "I'm still running the company." "But you're softer." Marcus lowered his voice. "You deserve someone ambitious." "Olivia is ambitious." Marcus laughed. "Doing what?" "She barely works." "She works from home." "Doing what exactly?" Ethan couldn't answer. The truth was, he didn't know. Olivia had always been vague about her work. She simply said she managed private investments. Marcus smirked. "Maybe she's hiding something." Those words stayed with Ethan. Over the following days, tiny misunderstandings became arguments. Olivia asked him to rest. He accused her of not understanding business. She suggested hiring financial advisors. He snapped that she knew nothing about corporate finance. Every conversation ended in silence. One evening she quietly said, "I miss my husband. I'm right here." "No." She shook her head sadly. "The man I married would have listened." Ethan rubbed his temples. "I don't have time for emotional conversations." She looked at him with heartbreak in her eyes. "One day you'll realize money isn't everything." He replied without thinking. Easy for someone who has never built anything. The words struck her like a knife. She simply whispered, "Good night." Weeks later, disaster arrived. Sterling Capital officially rejected another extension. 30 days. No more. Marcus slammed the letter onto Ethan's desk. "It's over." Ethan stared blankly. "I've failed." Marcus crossed his arms. Unless what? You protect yourself." "How?" Marcus hesitated before speaking. "If bankruptcy happens, your personal assets become vulnerable." "I know. You should divorce Olivia." Ethan stared in disbelief. "What? If you're divorced before everything collapses, she'll be financially safe." "I won't leave her." Marcus leaned closer. "Think logically. If creditors come after you, she'll lose everything too. You can always remarry later." The idea sounded cruel, heartless. But fear makes people believe impossible things. For several sleepless nights, Ethan convinced himself it was an act of love. That sacrificing his marriage would protect Olivia. He ignored the fact that he had never asked what she wanted. Finally, he placed divorce papers on the kitchen table. Olivia looked at them in stunned silence. "You want a divorce?" He couldn't meet her eyes. "It's for the best." "For who?" "You'll understand someday." She searched his face, hoping this was a nightmare. "Do you love someone else?" "No." "Then why?" He remained silent. Minutes passed. Finally, she nodded slowly. "If this is truly what you want." Her voice trembled. "I won't beg you to stay." She picked up a pen. With tears streaming down her face, Olivia signed the papers. As she walked out of the house carrying only a single suitcase, Ethan believed he was protecting her. He had no idea that the woman walking away wasn't about to lose everything. She was the one person who could save everything he had ever built. And at Sterling Capital's headquarters the next morning, every executive stood as Olivia entered the boardroom. For the first time in years, she took the chair at the head of the table. The room fell silent. She looked at the executives with calm determination. Effective immediately, she said, "I will personally oversee the Carter Technologies account." None of them knew the heartbreaking reason why. But before long, the truth would shake every life in that room, including Ethan's.